what's going on? Okay, if you remember from yesterday, so we said that we're talking about when one of the pigeons flies away, and it's and then it becomes invalid. Its counterpart becomes invalid. It's not there. So now the Mishnah is going to say, Keitzad. How does this whole story work? So he says the following: Keitzad. Shtei nashim, l'zor shtei kinnim v'l'zor shtei kinnim. So if you got now these two women, so each, let's call them, I don't know, Rachel and Leah. So Rachel and Leah have two pairs of birds, right? So now what happens is, parach mizulazu, one of Rachel's birds flies into Leah's. So then what happens? So then we know if it flies into there, then the bird is what? So it says the poisel echad b'hali chasra. It postles the other one by the fact that it leaves. So we understand that if the minute the one moves into the other one, its partner becomes posel and itself obviously becomes chazar. So what happens if
the one from where the bird left? So yes, let's say two. So the one that so there's now 3 and 1.
Yes, there's now 3 and 1.
One is the one now puzzle.
Yes, one. So you got these 4 birds, right? 4 birds are together, right? So now the one flies out.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of those 3 is okay. So one of those 3 is not okay. Sorry, one of those 3 is not okay. Because now you've got 3 birds, where you have to have 2 birds. You're not really sure which is which. You understand? That's how this whole thing works.
Yeah.
So then, but chazar, what happens if it comes back? Then it's posel echad b'chazir asoy. Then, if it returns, then it invalidates once again the one that it comes back to, because again, you're not sure which one is which and how it works.
Well, you're not even sure the same bird that's come back.
Exactly. It's so that's why this thing is so complicated, because the whole thing it just doesn't really work. So, for example, the way the Baratanura says, he says that the one puzzles the other, from the place that it went out, puzzles it. And not only that, it also puzzles itself or one of the ones that it goes and mixes up with. Because the minute it moves away, you start separating all these different groups of birds. So you've got just you've got a random group of birds where you should have specific sets of birds. That's what's going on. Okay. Then it says parach v'chazar lo hifsid klum. Shafil hein muravas ein pachos mishtan. So what happens now? If you got this bird, sorry, you've got the bird, it flies away, it comes back, and it flies away again, and then it comes again, and then it comes back again. So
then it should be fine, because it must be like a homing pigeon.
Exactly. So then it doesn't make a difference, because then there's no further loss, because even if they are mixed together, right, you still will have the 2 pairs, right? The one of less than 2 pairs. There's always that 2 pairing. So if it goes and it comes back and goes and comes back, so then you don't have the further loss, because you can't keep puzzling, because as you say, there's obviously it's coming back to its original space.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just what's the most interesting is what I find in this whole story is how Chazal are like battling with these numbers and the reality of these birds like coming in and coming out. Like, I think that why don't you just put them in a little cage? And why would they, make sure that it's totally controlled environment? And in the controlled environment, you don't have this issue. But I suppose that's the level.
Yeah, I suppose they're giving the law for those exceptions. I'm saying, because they're saying, okay, so if you have got it in a controlled environment, you're not going to have the issue. But if you don't happen to have it in a controlled environment, also maybe the people as you say, they're going to be using these things because they're poor, so they'll use it instead of an animal or whatever. So maybe they don't have the facilities to confine them as well. I don't know, but I mean, I suppose, do they learn out from these Gemaras like laws of partnership and that? By the way,
so the laws of partnership, we spoke about it. There was one that once in the first period, if you remember.
Yeah.
So that we don't learn the laws of partnership from them, but we use the laws of partnership to assist in understanding in terms of ownership of these birds. What is interesting is that there is no Gemara on this, hey? There's no Gemara. It's only Mishnahs.
Yeah. Oh, is there no Gemara on kinnim?
No, it's only Mishnahs. The Gemara's coming from other places.
Are you Yerushalmi either?
Oh, it could be Yerushalmi, but there's not.
There's not bubbly, really. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. So that which also makes it hard because then you don't have the nuance that's picked up by Chazal, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all very much based on the Mefarshim, and they're bringing it. They're learning it. They're learning it from the way other Gemaras explain certain aspects of these things.
Right.
Okay. Cool. Have a good day, man.
Nice. I wonder why on it. Maybe because they said that's the law. That's the law. Like you can't.
Yeah.
You know, if it's got to do with the with the base of Mikdash and whatever, but it doesn't distinguish cases. I mean, if you got 4 birds, 2 and 2, but one's a khatat, one's an ola, whatever. But what happens if they're all khatat and whatever? So maybe it's different. So they don't actually give that kind of nuance. Okay, sure.
All of those things are going to be based on precedent on other issues, like how to define and where it sits and all of that. So it's quite. I think that's where the complication comes in. If you have a full understanding of khatas, oila, shlamim, all of those things properly, then maybe it works in a different, easier mixture.
Okay.